Hi, Ina Paula. Welcome. This is a place we have soulful conversations about personality typing with a spiritual understanding. This week we're going to be talking about how personality type triggers can and do inspire personal growth while on vacation. And I use vacation too because I think when we're on vacation, we're more open-minded. I mean, we pack our bags with the idea that, wow, we're going to go and explore and do new things. So I think we have a more open mindset to ourselves, the world around us, who we're traveling with most of the time. We're going to get into this, right? So we're going to get into what causes a trigger, why I believe tourism and marketing professionals with their marketing actually can cause a trigger. Why I don't believe you should change yourself is in your best interest. And also there's some journal prompts on the blog in case you are triggered when you go on vacation. And then these prompts lead to actionable steps you can take if you find yourself in a situation when you're on vacation. So I do really think this would be a good blog post to read before you head out on vacation. So you're kind of mindful of this and you start becoming more mindful of your traits. It'll make your vacation so much more happier and so much more enjoyable because you have a better understanding of why you're reacting to the circumstances or the situations around you. So it might be a good smart tip for you. Okay. Anyway, let's start with what causes a trigger. Usually, what causes a trigger are unbalanced or unhealthy personality traits. And the thing is, when one trait is unhealthy, especially what I call your primary essential self trait, it acts like a game of Jenga and it just topples your whole personality type. We have to know that our traits are woven together to create one persona. They're not individual traits. They are, for discussion's sake, but when they're working in your mind and in your persona and through your personality, they're woven together as one package. So you really have to get familiar with them and understand how they all work together. This is really important. And I think the career typing in the 1950s, we don't really talk about that. I mean, I think they do in some respects. But that 1950s career typology is really just for career typology. I want to take this into more a lifestyle approach. Obviously a more spiritual approach, because I believe we are human beings. Our humanness is our mind, is our persona, and our beingness is our spiritual self. Human being, creating a whole, an organic whole. You're a human being, so you're two parts of a whole. That's why I teach this. I love this stuff. It's so interesting. And when you start putting the spiritual outlook into it, it really brings a deeper understanding to the persona too. You're like, oh, I get that. So let's get back to what causes triggers. Like I said, there's an unbalance, or the trait's unhealthy, and it's causing you to trigger, which is really kind of a good thing because once you start triggering, you know something's off balance. That's your psyche, your mind, and maybe even your body. Like you're getting queasy, you're getting like you get overwhelmed, you can't breathe. Those are all signals that there's something that needs to change, or it's alerting you to something that you need to pay attention to. Okay? So when this happens, right, it's a good thing, but you have to note it, right? Because you just want to go, oh, because it's going to keep on happening again and again and again. And it might not be on vacation. It might be when you get home. It might be in a work situation. Or you might even see it. You're like, oh, here's this thing again. Because it keeps on coming to the surface for you to change it, for you to acknowledge it and address it with grace and love. But take responsibility for it as well and commit to changing that. So that's something you should be very aware of. And that's why I put the journal prompts in. And that's why I'm saying you should read this before you go on vacation so you can start journaling about things. And you can even think of past vacations and what's triggered you on a past vacation. It's likely to come up again. So it'd be nice if you could kind of avoid all that. But we don't. We're humans. It's going to happen. It happens to me. It happens to everyone on the planet. Because we're all human beings, right? We live in a dualistic world. So these triggers come up to teach you. And let me just say this too, not all triggers are bad. Triggers, like the rest of the world, they're dualistic. They have a good positive charge and they have a negative charge. So a trigger can help you figure out something about yourself. If you're in low vibrational energy, it's going to help you. But it also might help you when you're triggered by somebody else to help them bring up their low vibrational energy. This is something you've gone through. Maybe it's setting boundaries. Maybe you've come to terms with when you want to say yes and when you want to say no. And somebody's just saying, oh, come on, let's go, go, go. You're like, no, I don't want to go. Here's why. And sometimes you need to explain it. Just go, no, my choice is not going. I feel so often too, women just want to explain the shit out of stuff. And it's just like, you don't need to explain everything. We really don't. Respect who I am. I'm saying no. I'm saying no for a reason. Respect that. If you want to make the choice to go, go. Oh my gosh, right? So triggers are dualistic. So there's good triggers and bad triggers. And actually I addressed that on last week's blog. So I'll put that link in the description box below. Now, second, why I believe tourism and marketing causes triggers, it was my world for many years. But, the marketing industry just paints this picture of the perfect location, the perfect person, the perfect family, the perfect beach, the perfect food. I'm going to say bullshit on that. It's all bullshit. Because there's nothing perfect. There isn't. We're not perfect. A destination isn't perfect. The food's not perfect, right? So we set ourselves up almost to fail when we go on vacation because everything's not perfect. Well, everything's not supposed to be perfect. Everything in your life is a journey. Vacations are no exception. You can't pack your personality along with the sunnies and the sunscreen and expect to go from destination A to destination B and be different when you arrive. Like, oh, I'm this perfect person now. I've arrived at my destination. Everything's gonna be perfect. That's an untruth. That's a big false belief, right? But have you ever seen a travel commercial, which I would love to see, actually, where somebody is having a little mini meltdown? You don't see that. They want to paint everything as these perfect, they want to book it. And I'm not saying it's good or bad because I lived it for years. They're about booking that stay. They're about you arriving in the destination. Because when you arrive in a destination, you spend money. I want you to look at it in a different way. I want you to look at a travel trigger as a journey to transformation instead of a journey to pick up a tchotchke. What do you want to come home with? A tchotchke or a more enlightened you? I think if you're watching this channel, I know what your answer is, right? So let's just kind of back off from the whole marketing machine of telling us that, you have to have this perfect vacation. Everything's going to be perfect. It's not going to be perfect. It just isn't. So just know that. Write that one off your list. Take that one off your trigger list, right? Just know that it's no longer an issue. I'll let that one go, right? It's because it's unreal. It's unrealistic, okay? And then this is when I get into, too, of talking about changing yourself. I don't think it's in your best interest. This happens at work, at home, and on vacation. How many times have you said, oh, okay, I'll do that? And you don't want to do that. I know I did it. It's I don't want to sit by the pool all day. I'll pull my hair out in boredom. I like it now at the beach is a different story. I can read books and stuff, but I still have to be active. I have to be doing something or thinking or intellectually stimulated, And some types, they are hands-on. They want on the go, pick up the volleyball, go get something to eat. They want to be moving and grooving the whole time. And if you tell them to sit by the beach, they're going to be like, this is bullshit. This is not, and that's where triggers come, right? Because there's not an understanding of personality types, but you've said okay to that, and you've changed basically who you are, which I just detest that idea of you changing yourself. I don't want you to ever change yourself. Write that down. You do not need to change. Ever. You were created from divine intelligence, which creates worlds, universes, galaxies, everything on this gorgeous planet. You have a spark of that in you. And you were created with this very specific very specific purpose. Divine intelligence is not random. He didn't create you to be random and be this person and be this person and this person. So that's why I'm a firm believer of, like, you don't change. Your essential self does not need to change. It won't change. All right? And that's why when you change for another person to make them happy on vacation, you come home saying, God, I need a vacation for my vacation. That was stressful. I hated that place. Well, you hated it because you weren't being you, right? We got to start taking those things off the table. We got to start knowing our partners or our friends or whoever we're traveling. We got to know their personality type. And if they need to be on the go, let them be on the go. There's nothing wrong with that. You can do solo activities within the vacation itself. There's nothing wrong with that. If you just want to sit by the pool, be alone, or go climb that mountaintop by yourself and be alone, you should do that. That's what vacations are. Vacations are giving yourself, they're feeding you, right? They're feeding you so you can become a more creative, fulfilled person when you get back to the rat race of life. So when you change yourself for somebody else, it defeats the whole purpose, right? Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense, because that's a big one for me. And it's really, honestly, it's why I'm doing the work, because I was so ready to change myself to become the person I thought this other person would want me to be, so I could be accepted, so I could be loved, so I could fit in, so I could be this, award-winning PR person. What the hell? None of that. It just, when you try to change yourself, I'm telling you right now, you fight yourself. And that's why so many people go, God, it's so hard to change. Yeah, it is, because you're fighting yourself. It took me 7 years to figure a lot of this stuff out, because I'm a stubborn shit. And I'm like, nope, I can do it. But I don't want that for you. I don't want you to have to go through all these trials and tribulations. I want you to start learning your personality type intimately, beyond career typology. I want you to learn it with a spiritual understanding, so things become more flowy and more gentle. That you start working, your human and beingness start working together as a beautiful partnership. Think of that as the most successful marriage you can have, is the marriage between your human and your beingness. That's a successful marriage in the relationship with you. And that's where you need to start. It's what I learned. I'm just teaching what I know, all right? Okay. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is the journal prompts. So sometimes it's hard when you're in a situation, you'll find yourself in a situation and you just become overwhelmed, right? It's like, it could be too many people, too noisy, too many crowds, right? Or it could be like you're all alone, you're walking, you need more people around, and all of a sudden these things, these fears, these dark energies kind of start taking over, and you get this fear in your mind. So when you feel that happening, you're getting triggered. Something's triggering you, and it could be something actually from the external circumstances. And it's just a heightened awareness. And you need to be aware of that too, just as much as what's triggering you. That's your intuition saying you need to be focused, you need to be aware, and you need to get out, or you need to look around. You need to be aware of your surroundings. So always trust that on vacation. Always, always, always. And that's that inner light guiding you. So you need to be aware of that. But when the triggers are triggering you, well, I'm saying from fear, from ego, you get into that overwhelming state. You get stressed out, or you get angry, or you just shut down, right? So there's some journal prompts on the blog about how to handle that, and I talk about some deep breathing. I talk really about just separating yourself from the situation, taking a time out. And even if you have kids, take a time out, go to the bathroom, do something. Remove yourself from the situation so you can pause and breathe. Now, there are some instructions on, like I said, on the blog for you to look into that a little bit more. But when you feel yourself start triggering, my biggest takeaway is you have to start pausing and breathing. And this becomes a practice for you. This is a practice you take home and do it daily. It becomes, a practice, a daily practice. It's a commitment. We're so conditioned to have an answer, be at the table with all the answers. If you don't have an answer and you sit there without an answer, then people think less of you. No, they don't. That's some bullshit conditioning crap that we've been all conditioned to think. How many times, and this has happened to me, because I was the opposite. I was that person that always had to have an answer. You have to have an answer. People won't think you're smart unless you have an answer. You have to have an answer to everything, which is, good. But if you don't have the answer, don't sit there and just spew out stuff that's, doesn't make any sense. And I did that a lot. And I still have to watch myself, and that's part of my personality type. It's part of one of my triggers. But I know now when I pause and reflect, and for me, go into prayer and meditation, my answers are always better. So I kind of want you to learn to start doing that. And vacation, fear and triggers will manifest and meet you on vacation as well as they will in your daily life. Probably even more so because you're more relaxed and you're more open and you're like, you're not so guarded. And so things kind of come up, which is good. That's how we learn. We learn through these things. We learn through triggers. It's part of the journey. I'm just trying to help you cope with it when it comes up. So you're not totally out of control and the whole rest of the vacation becomes a bummer. We don't want that. We want you to kind of walk through the trigger, and you might not be able to, probably won't be able to deal with it right then and there on the spot, because it could be something that's deeply unconscious that you need to work through. But now at least you're aware of it. It's that old saying, once the toothpaste is out of the tube, you can't put it back. It's time to be aware of your triggers, right? And vacation is a great time to do this. And like I said, don't you want to come home that much more enlightened versus coming home with a tchotchke? You can do both. I don't care. I'm not saying you have to do either one. But I think if we come home, I think if we start looking at everything in our life as a journey and not just as this perfect thing we have to experience in our life, it's really unrealistic. And when I say unrealistic, it takes you out of reality. It takes you out of your personal reality. And that's the bummer about all this conditioning we've all been exposed to. And that conditioning, it's a massive machine. It's a machine. And now, more than ever, you really, really need to know who you are and what's important to you and what's essential. Because it's very easy in these times to get swept away into a belief that's not even yours. And then down the road, you're totally regretting it because you didn't think about yourself. You just went along with what was happening. You went along with this collective, I'd like to say, wave of collectiveness, and you can see it happening now, I don't want that for you. I want you to know who you are. When you know who you are, do you know how much joy you can bring to the world? You know how much change you can bring? And it can be in your own backyard or it can be on a stage. It doesn't matter. Because you are here with a purpose sent by divine intelligence, right, to make that purpose a reality. And it all gets experienced through your personality. Because once your human beingness is in that beautiful marriage that I was talking about, come together like praying hands. I love praying hands. But when you have that union, that marriage with yourself, that allows your soul self, that higher divine spark that's in you, to communicate and take inspired actions through your personality type. So the fear and the conditioning are lessened. They're always going to be there. You're a human being. It's part of the journey here. It's part of why we're here, to witness, to learn, to evolve, to enhance ourselves, right? That's the journey. And why not do it on vacation too? Why not? I'm not saying you have to totally focus and that's all you have to do, but be aware of it. So when these things come up, you're like, ooh, that's interesting. I need to look at that a little closer. And not just fluff it off like, oh, just, who's that stupid person in front of me? Well, maybe not. Maybe so. But honestly, if you're triggered, it's usually something you have to deal with. Anyhow, I really appreciate everybody on this channel. I hope you're digging what I'm putting down. Woo-hoo. It's just fun. It's just like a new way to look at personality typing. It's a fabulous tool. I think so many of us don't give enough credence to, because we weren't told to. We were never shown this. We were never educated to look at this beautiful gift that we were given. We dismiss it as a career tool. It's so much more than a career tool. It's so much more. It is the pathway to your true self, your truth. Right? It is that pathway. And it's you, you know? It's you. You get to show up every day as you, which is so beautiful. That was the intention all along. It wasn't the intention to compete and copy somebody else and try to be somebody else that you think is so great. You're great. You're beautiful. You're a magnanimous soul. That's what I want for you. I want you to realize that and just feel just the power in just that. Like, yeah, you're connected to the spark of divine. What are you going to make happen? Because it's all within you. It is. Just need to pull it out. That's all. It's ready. It's ready for you. Anyway, I appreciate you all. Have a wonderful Sunday. Hope you're enjoying these. Click the little bell. Subscribe. You know the whole YouTube routine. It's like robotic again. But anyway, just what we do. And if you think somebody could hear this message and would really gain some insights, I'd appreciate the share. This is what I'm all about. I'm here to bring insightful information. I'm here to teach you what I went through so you don't have to go through the depths that I did. You're going to have to learn it. But if I had the enlightenment I have now about myself and the relationship with myself, oh my God, so different. That wasn't my soul path. We all have unique soul paths. That's what makes us such beautiful souls. Anyway, happy Sunday. I appreciate you. There's some links in the description below. Feel free to go read the blog, read all the other stuff I have up there. I can't wait to hear your comments, or I just can't wait to have this start setting in and people start using it. And I can't wait to hear good, oh my God, Nina, it's worked for me so well. It's so important. It really is. I want you to know the importance of this, right? It's the key to unlocking your true self. That's big. That's why I call it the soul's role in personality typing. I'm very intentional. I know I don't seem like it because I'm such a million-a-dillion, but I am very intentional. I think a lot. It's my personality type. The curious one. I'm an ENTP. What's your type? Put in the comments below. I might send you a little surprise. You know? Bye, guys. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll talk next Sunday. Bye for now.